This playthrough is rated M for mature.
Is it possible to talk down a mad scientist? Greetings and salutations, viewers. Well, we're back here with another episode of Shadowrun Dragonfall. In the last episode, we finished the top section, dealing with the gargoyles and security and stuff like that. And then we dealt with the next section, which is dealing with more security. We found out about the Panacea project, which might be some airborne magical virus, though we don't know the exact reasoning for that, but I know. But we also found the spot where Monica met her end, for those, and Iger got, I wouldn't say closure, but got to at least see the spot. So now it's on to the next floor to find out what Vauclair has to offer. Let's head on in. And after this transition to the next floor, I would definitely strongly have a save ready to go here. So, Panacea. The sounds of machinery fade behind you as you venture further underground. Whoever built this facility was clearly well financed. It must have taken years to design, excavate, and build a complex like this in secrecy. You continue through dimly lit halls, finally stepping into what appears to be another laboratory area. The corridor before you is deserted. Dr. Adrian Vauclair is somewhere within this facility, and with him, the answers you seek. You're probably thinking, well, you got an autosave here. Well, the thing is, the autosave gets overridden on your gameplay when you get to a new section. So I would strongly suggest having a backup save here. So we're going to save over... actually, I don't want to save over that one yet because for recording purposes. So we'll save here. But luckily, it's a new name section called Under Panacea. So that way you can remember that this is the section we want to save at. And there's a specific reason why. Because this basically sets up the endings for the games. So we already technically have a version of the ending from Apex, but this is really where the endings start kind of coming to fruition here. So this is why you want to save. So if you want to get all the achievements back to back, or most of them anyway, so for you achievement hunters. It's like we're just in another laboratory, but can't go through any of the doors here, so. Alright, well, let's see what's inside. What the? The old man behind the glass works feverishly at his console, glancing up at you when he can. A cigarette dangles from his mouth, its bluish smoke curling around his head. An overflowing ashtray sits on the lab table in front of him. The years have not been kind, but his features are instantly recognizable. Despite his age, he still has the strong chin and high cheekbones that you remember from Green Winter's DVD. This is Dr. Adrian Vauclair. As you approach, he stops what he's doing, a look of intense irritation on his face. He clears his throat and a harsh rasping sound emerges from the loudspeaker next to the glass. So, you're the Shadowrunners that Aljernon warned me about. I assume you've left a trail of corpses in your wake. That's on you, Doc. You've got some explaining to do. I have explaining to do. This is my home. You are the intruders here. If anyone needs to explain himself, it's you. He reaches down, flips the switch, and you hear a loud thud and a click behind you as the door locks shut. You'll find that the blast door behind you is sealed, and that the laboratory you occupy is fully secured. An important precaution. We keep our test subjects in there, and they are far more dangerous than you are. He takes a drag on a cigarette. I won't permit you to cause any further harm, Shadowrunner. You will remain trapped where you are for your own good. Okay, so Adrian Vauclair, this is one of the endings I'm talking about, or it leads to one of the endings. There's 3 ways to go around this conversation. 2 of them really lead to a specific ending, but you do get an achievement if you can do one specific conversation right. So, well, let's go to it until we how we get about this. So, Iger, why don't you tell the doc how we feel about being trapped? With pleasure. In one smooth motion, Iger raises her shotgun and loads a spread of pellets into the glass. They clang into the window, ricocheting wildly in all directions. The surface remains unblemished. The window is between us. It is made of Dakote-treated transplast. Do whatever you like to it. You'll find that it's quite unbreakable. It's quite... was it, I was trying to think of the line for the Emperor. It will be quite operational when they arrive. The bastards are right. Nothing Vauclair can even scratch Dakote. That glass is essentially sheathed in diamond. We need military-grade explosives to crack it. She frowns. We're stuck in here. Now, he fixes you with a level stare. I want to know why in the hell you have so violently interjected yourselves into my business. First you break into my estate, which you didn't even know was mine, apparently. Then you spend what you have been a small fortune to track me down. You locate my AI, destroy it, then drive all the way out to the countryside, and finally you shoot your way into my laboratory. He leans forward, hands on the table, his eyes narrowed in a piercing stare. So I have to ask you, Shadowrunner, who are you, and why in God's name are you here? So, okay, so this is when we start getting to the interesting dialogue. So, okay, I gotta remember, because there is a specific way you want to do this, so, okay. I mean, it probably doesn't start till now. I always forget the exact stream of events to set up the what I want to get out of this, so. Vengeance, someone killed our friend, attacked our home, and I'm thinking that someone was you. Vauclair covers his face with his pale, nicotine-stained hands and groans. Yes, that was me. I was the one who sent Apex and Adrian after you. You're going to pay for that, you bastard. Why attack the cruise bazaar, Vauclair? Why kill Paul Amsel? It was necessary to preserve the secrecy of my work, for the greater good of all. For the greater good. I know I have wronged you, and for this I am sorry. He sighs a long, rattling sigh that quickly turns into a violent fit of coughing. The sound echoes over the loudspeakers. He collects himself, continues. I don't expect you to understand, nor do I have the time to explain it to you. He straightens, glances back to the screen to his side, and nods curtly. Now I must know, how did you learn that I was still alive? How did you even know to look for me? Did someone send you? Okay, so, let's see. Okay, so we want to, one way to get the situation I want to get is we got to make sure to mention his brother at all times. Your brother said you were the world's only hope to stop First Wing from returning. Vauclair starts, and then sudden movement sends his overflowing ashtray flying from the table. It clatters to the ground in a cloud of ash. My brother? Hermie? It's been years. Have you seen him? How is he? His brow furrows. He takes a step towards you impatiently. Well? Let's see. I'm sorry, Doc. He was digging too deeply into First Wing, so Apex killed him. He slumps into the chair next to him, his whole body shaking. I didn't. I didn't think he actively tried to kill his brother, but, he is suddenly overcome by another fit of coughing. He stays himself on one arm of the chair. Apex. He clutches his chest. I should have never trusted that thing. He closes his eyes, and a tear traces its way down the gaunt hollow of his cheek. Oh, Hermie, the things I've sacrificed, all for this, all for Panacea, all for tonight. And Panacea, your modified virus? What's tonight, Doctor? What are you planning with Panacea? He looks up dazed, his eyes unfocused. Yes, you know about it then. Panacea, it's my life's work, a permanent solution to an age-old problem. It will mean the end of the dragons, not just First Wing, all dragons. So yeah, his whole plan is because of everything the First Wing and the Fire Wing did, he basically just wants to eliminate all of them. And so this Panacea is basically an airborne virus to kill magical beings, which in this case being dragons. Sorry, I just always had to remember. Let me get this straight. You had a bad experience with one dragon, so now you're going to wipe out an entire species? Vauclair fumbles in his pockets, produces a fresh cigarette. He lights it with his shaking hands and breathes in deeply. The orange glow of the cigarette flares bright. When he exhales, the words spill out with the smoke. The Fire Wing burned and murdered and caused untold damage in her bestial rage, until the Dragonfall, until I stopped her. But the destruction was merely a symptom of a greater cancer. First Wing wrought destruction with fire and claw. The dragons of today, Lofri, Dunzon, Saladin, they kill and conquer with subtler tools. Deception, manipulation, corruption. He spits with disgust. They use it as pawns, playing pieces, puppets in their millennia-long machinations. Ah, yes, dragons are a cancer, one that will conquer, or worse, destroy all of humanity if we do not stop it. One that metastasized when the world awakened. An ironic metaphor, since it was the failing of my own body that allowed me to see it. Let me guess, you have cancer? Late stage 2. If I had to guess, I'd say leukemia. He is racked again by violent coughing, allows it to subside, takes another long drag on a cigarette, the ash creeping closer and closer towards his mouth. Your friend is correct. I suffer from cancer of the blood, brought on by the radiation of the SOX, no doubt. It was when I heard my doctor's diagnosis that I realized what I had to do, what my life's work would be in the time that I had left. I'm sorry, Hermie. I'm sorry you won't be able to see it for yourself. I'm sorry I failed you. Vauclair turns his attention back to the computer, stubbing out a cigarette. He grabs a fresh one from the pack and lights it. Tonight I will release my panacea to the world, and how absurd that the instrument of Dragonkind's destruction. He presses a button on the terminal. A large observation window at the far end of the room rises slowly open. Will be carried out by First Wing herself. Whoa, look at that thing. She's huge. With what she did and everything. Through the glass, you see the prostrate form of a dragon. Far below, an enormous set of shackles bind it, and a maze of tubes snakes it into its body. The tubes connect to a cruel-looking apparatus that has been mounted to the wall. This reminds me of a scene from the redo of Lunar Silver Star Saga. Don't want to go too far into it, but there's a scene in the not the original Sega CD version, but the PlayStation remake, which is almost a worse fate for the character in that version than the original one. But I'll do those games one of those days. But son of a bitch, look at that. He found her alive in SOX after all. Tonight the Fire Wing will fly again. Infected with panacea, she'll slowly be destroyed from within. But before that happens, she'll provide the catalyst for global transmission of the virus. Catalyst? What catalyst? As is spurred on by the side of the dragon below, he begins typing furiously at his terminal. First Wing's fire will carry the agent in its dormant state. Any metahumans exposed will become carriers and will spread the disease to other dragons. The carriers will be infected with panacea as well, but it will not harm them. To non-dragons, it is a nuisance, nothing more. When a critical mass of carriers is achieved, my panacea will become unstoppable. It will spread across the globe in a relentless tide. However, if it does not reach this critical mass, it will fizzle, die out, become inert. Hence the need for a ground zero, a flashpoint for a mass infection event. He looks to the ceiling, mumbling to himself, I'm sorry, homie. I know how you loved your flux state, but that doesn't matter now. It must be Berlin. Hold on, what exactly are you going to do to Berlin? He continues his work, filled with a feverish energy. To save the world, yes. For panacea to work, Berlin must burn. A sacrifice, one for the greater good. The greater good. First Ring will breathe her infected fire upon Berlin. Thousands will die, and through the destruction the virus will take to the air. A critical mass of Berlin's metahuman population will be exposed, but no one will even think to quarantine the city until it's too late. The flux state lacks any centralized authority. Corporations will evacuate their own. Thousands will flee the city, infected. He mutters, his voice growing more detached. Ah, yes, Hermie. Berlin is the perfect flashpoint. It wasn't supposed to happen tonight. No, but this little invention of yours leaves us no choice. So let us see. He squints at his screen. Tonight's wind patterns dictate that Ground Zero be Temphoff, Schonenberg. Highly populated, the virus will spread quickly enough from there. There's only a few kilometers from the Cruise Bazaar. Don't do it, Vauclair. I swear I will make you hurt. I will make you hurt if you do, and I'll make it last. Vauclair sighs, shuts his eyes tight, brings a shaking hand to his temple. We all know that is not going to happen. You're trapped here, impotent to stop this from happening. It will happen. The old man's eyes the cigarette butt in his hands, fishes out from another pack and lights it with his first. Then he returns to the console, reaching to the side for a microphone. He mutters something into the receiver. You can just barely make out the sound of the name Audron. When he turns to address you again, his voice is level. The shaking of his hands seemed to have subsided. Security will be here soon, and they will take care of you. Do not worry, you will not be harmed. The sacrifice I am making tonight is a necessary evil. It cannot be helped, but so long as you remain confined, I see no reason to kill you. Okay, so here's where we finally get the dialogue that indicates the couple of the endings. So you can actually straight up agree with the Doctor and help him in his endeavor to basically destroy all dragons, which will end up killing like most of Berlin and the Cruise Bazaar and everything with it. Now, if you choose to help the Doctor before a very specific point, your allies will try to get you to back out. But at some point, if you keep agreeing with him, your allies will turn on you. So, it depends on who you bring. If you bring Dietrich, Glory, and Iger, they will turn on you if you choose to help the good Doctor. Blitz, I'm not sure. I don't think he does, if I recall. He sort of agrees with you in a weird sense, more for self-preservation, if I recall. If you bring Dante, he'll join you no matter what because he's a good boy. And then if you bring, obviously, if you're bringing the drone, the Apex drone, it'll help you because obviously it's designated to help you. If you bring any paid help, they'll stick with whatever choice you have because they don't really have any personality. I think even First Strike joined you too. I don't think she has a unique dialogue here as far as I'm aware of. So this is where one of the endings are. So there is an ending where you help Vauclair. Now there's still some things that still happen to get to the point because we still have a lot of game to go despite your choice here. but that is one of the endings of the game. And then the other ending is obviously fighting Vauclair. But there are two variations to dealing with Vauclair here. We can either just outright ignore what he does and just fight him tooth and nail to the very end, or there is another path. So one of the paths is basically questioning the Doctor on his decisions throughout the whole time, and I'll try to go through this perfectly, or not perfectly, but very well. So how are you going to get First Wing to go along with this plan of yours? Vauclair continues his work. Oh, that's simple enough. He gestures to the left. She has no choice. The gaunt woman in the containment cell stands rigidly, her face pressed against the glass, her haunted yellow eyes tracking her every move. She appears frightened, disoriented, lost. Her mouth moves silently, her voice muted by her glass cage. So the stories gained Ventus found were true. First Wing's astral form was separated from her body when she fell. You trapped it somehow. Yes, but that came later. In 2012, we took down First Wing with an experimental weapon. This device, suffice it to say, I couldn't fully predict how it would affect her. In 2036, I led a search team into the SOX. I had to know what really happened to the creature that I had slain. We found her alive, in a way. The dragon's astral form, her spirit, you might say, has been ripped from her body by the weapon. It was trapped inside a young woman living in the SOX. A mob of glowpunks revered her, treated her like a goddess. I transported the young woman and the dragon's body here, where I could study them. You mean that she's been in that cell for almost 20 years? The old man nods absently. No choice. A creature separated from its astral form cannot live more than a few hours before both die. It was the high-intensity radiation of the SOX combined with a magical creature inside her that allowed the woman to live for as long as she has. So, Vauclair seems almost eager to explain, the environment within her containment chamber mirrors that of the SOX. It has allowed us to keep First Wing alive all these years while her bestial shell remains chained up below. For her physical form, that would be simple as well. We've drilled a series of electrical charges directly into her skull. When we release the Firewing's body, empty of her astral self, we will trigger all of the vicious instincts and primal urges left in her reptile brain. She will unleash her fire where we command it. That's horrific, even for a mass-murdering dragon. He shakes his head. Misplaced empathy. The beast emblazed a path of fiery destruction across Germany. But no matter, I have more important things to do than to debate the morality of this with you. First Wing must fly, Berlin must be sacrificed, and it must be tonight. Now, where is that damned Aljernon? You don't burn a city and call it a sacrifice. You call it what it is, mass murder. Vauclair stiffens, turning to face you. Anger washes across his face. Was it mass murder when America dropped the atomic bomb on Japan? The myopic would say yes, just as you are now. But they did it for a cause, to shorten the agony of the war, to save the lives of thousands upon thousands of soldiers. The old man is trembling now. I do the same, for the good of the world. Yeah, the good of the people. So basically every time we just have to keep questioning him. Now, if you have the academic etiquette, this makes it a lot easier to do. If you have academic and biotech, that helps with your conversation. If not, you always want to question him on what he's doing or keep pushing in the dialogue. It's just if you have etiquette, academic, it helps a lot more. So, you know that America was pretty divided on the morality of the act, right? Some even considered it a crime against humanity. We're not talking ethics here. We're talking parallels. What I do will prevent a greater evil from taking place. Humanity was born to reproduce, to multiply, but the dragons were born to acquire, to accumulate, to hoard. Both strive to bend the world to their will. Humanity has conquered the air, land, and sea through sheer numbers. Dragons, however, employ different means altogether. Throughout history, they have allowed us to do the heavy lifting, and while they pull the strings. There are 17 great dragons in the world today, 17 ancient worms, millennia old, slowly dividing the planet into 17 piles of gold to nest upon in front of our eyes. Once upon a time, they burned castles to steal the treasure we collected, laid waste to entire armies. But here in the Sixth World, it is no longer about tooth and claw and fiery breath. The old man's voice seethes with hatred. Now it's public relations, marketing, mergers, and acquisitions. You see it every day, dragons on the Tridio and the boardrooms. They gather influence, wealth, power, continually hoarding until one of them sits atop it all. Perhaps it's not in this cycle of the world, perhaps not the next, but one day a one worm will stand alone, triumphant, with all of humanity as its cattle, with all the world as its prize. And that, he trembles, his voice dropping into a whisper, that I will not allow. So, once again, keep questioning him on this about his results and everything with that. But if you have a high enough intelligence, or bringing up his brother is also a good option as well. But I'm going to do the intelligence option if I have it. So, what if this virus mutates into a strain that can kill us too? An intelligent question from the Shadowrunner? Surprising. Unfortunately, I don't have the time to explain it to you in detail, and since you are locked in that laboratory with no choice of escape, I don't really need to. But understand this, I am an expert in my field. That is not an idle boast, it is a certifiable fact. And I have worked with nearly unlimited resources for over 40 years, focused on one goal. 42 years of isolation, of secrecy, dead to the world, dead to my brother, and all for this, my life's mission. It will work. He looks down. I promise you, homie, it will work. So if you don't, obviously if you don't Biotech 5, keep questioning, his ideas on that. But since I have Biotech 5, your panacea is built on the back of an RNA virus, and yet you aren't worried about the possibility of mutation? It had to be an RNA virus. No choice in the matter. If panacea is to work, it'll be robust, untreatable. A DNA virus wouldn't fit the bill. You aren't listening, Doctor. He's right. RNA polymers are notoriously prone to replication error. Any first-year biology student could tell you that. You have no way of knowing how your panacea will mutate once you let it go. You're playing with fire in every way imaginable. I am not a first-year biology student. I am the forefront of my field. I have told you it will work. I spent decades on this, studying it, proving its effectiveness. Another spasm racks his chest. He leans against the desk, grasping for breath. You will respect that. Because I said so doesn't cut it, Doc. Now, then the stakes are this high. What Backfire is saying makes sense, and you know it. You may be crazy, but you ain't stupid. So, keep going with it if you have etiquette academics. So, if you don't want to do this, it's fine. Like I said, just completely ignore the doc and go on to the next section. That kind of leads to the same ending anyway, so you just get a little thing for doing this particular section. This is where the whole charisma, talk your way out of it situation works. One of the few times in the game. Well, actually, there's a few times in this game, but anyway. Are your findings peer-reviewed, Vauclair? Are you so invested in this idea of exterminating dragons that you're acting on faith? Vauclair stares at you through red-rimmed eyes for a long moment. And acting on faith makes for bad science? That is your point, yes? He sighs. If the draconic threat could be stopped by the scientific community, we wouldn't be having this conversation. I won't deny the risks, but this is my life's work. He spits out the words, and it is a risk worth taking. This is worrying. I have heard these arguments before, more often than I can count. They were rejected decades ago. The old man shakes his head at you. You're wasting your breath. I advise you to accept this and move on. It'll be over soon. So, okay. Let's see if we have that option yet. Not quite. Okay. This plan of yours killed your brother. Was it really worth it? Vauclair's fist slams into the table, sending his cigarette flying in a cascade of sparks and ash. No! Nothing can make that right. Nothing. He runs a hand through his unkempt hair, blinking through a haze of sudden tears. Damn it, Hermie. Why couldn't you just let go? Listen to reason, Vauclair. Would Hermie want you to do this? You did not know my brother, Shadowrunner. Do not presume to speak to me on his behalf. Hermie would support me in this if he knew what I know. Yeah. I've watched hours of your brother's video footage, Vauclair. I probably know him better than anyone alive, excepting yourself. His face twists into an ugly sneer. You've watched footage? And that makes you think you know the man? You know nothing. I know that he wanted you to stop all these years ago. He begged you to, and you promised him that you'd try. Vauclair falls silent. A wisp of smoke traces its way from the tip of his cigarette to the ceiling. He's right, Vauclair. Your brother was a miserable bastard, but he did try to save you. If you don't turn back from this, his death would have been meant for nothing. Nothing at all. That's enough. Hermie's death was a tragedy. I will not let you use it to manipulate me. Vauclair straightens. His expression is livid, but his body language tells a different story. The rage that shook him seems to have burnt itself out. Now he looks just tired. Okay, so this is where we've broken him down, so we just have to do the keep mentioning his brother at this point. So if Hermie were here with us right now, listening to this conversation, he'd tell you to stop this. Deny it if you want, but you know it's true. He slams his fist against the glass, his face contorted in a mask of rage and grief. How dare you presume to speak for my brother? To hell with letting you live. You're going to have front center seat for First Wing's return. I will see to it myself. You're that, Doc. Her voice is soft but firm. For a long moment, Vauclair stares at her, unmoving. Finally, his eyes flit to the ground. I'm not. If Homie were here. Oh, God. The old man continues to stare at his feet. The blood has drained from his cheeks, leaving him sickly pale. If Homie were here, he would not support this. He would point out the risks, the unknowns, the sacrifices, much as he always had before he... Vauclair's jaw clenches, the muscles of his throat tightens as he forces himself to swallow. He would try to stop me. And you could always back up at this thing going, oh, thanks for all that. I'm going to go and kill you, Doc, so... Alright. I'm trying to remember which version of this. You still have a chance to give him what he wanted. You can put a stop to this before more people get killed. Vauclair remains silent for some time. Finally, the old man begins to speak. He sounds hollowed out, gutted. For over 40 years, I ignored the rest of the world. I ignored the media, the military, the board of directors that deal in my little brother. No, especially my little brother. I wouldn't listen to them because I knew that I was right. I knew what had to be done, what they were all blind to. I was Hermes' big brother, and I was the great, celebrated dragon slayer. I knew better. He makes a sweeping gesture, a look of contempt on his face. You see this lab, the complex you're standing in, and the plans that it was all built to serve. I sacrificed everything for this. My job, my health, my family. I was prepared to sacrifice Berlin, to feed those people to the same fires I spent my youth trying to extinguish. And all the while, Homie was trying to tell me that I wasn't right, and I refused to listen. My refusal killed him, my little brother, the person I loved most in this world. He covers his face with a withered hand. If only I'd heard him, none of this would have happened. I'll be damned, I think you've talked him out of it. The old man lets out a heavy sigh, his entire body trembling. When he recovers, he looks almost like a different man, tired and frail, defeated. My cure, the panacea, isn't ready. I was ready to turn a blind eye to the flaws and deploy it anyway, but my eyes are open now, and I do not like what I see. I cannot change what has been done. I can't bring Hermie back. Anyway, we get 2 karma for convincing Vauclair to not go insane with power here. But I can put a stop to this. I can finally listen to what he was always trying to tell me, to what I would never hear him say, and so I shall. I know this is a hard decision, Vauclair, but it's the right one. He stares at his trembling hands, a sad smile on his face. More than 4 decades of planning, all undone in the span of a single conversation. My brother's words delivered through the mouth of a criminal. I finally listened, Homie. 42 years too late. Through the speakers, you can hear the sound of heavy footsteps approaching. Oh yeah, there's still one person who's kind of not... who may or may not be involved, go on with this new plan. Aljernon. Vauclair looks up at the orc. His voice trembles slightly. There's been a change of plans. No time for that, Doc. We're waking up the dragon's physical form right now. Everything's ready for the procedure to begin. You should see to it. There would be no procedure, Aljernon. The orc pauses. You're gonna have to repeat that. The plan, my plan, is flawed. Fatally so. The dragon will not fly tonight. Aljernon stops in his tracks. He stares at Vauclair, unblinking. This must come as a shock to you. I'm sorry for that. Vauclair smiles weakly. Your belief in our cause was only second only to my own. The orc goes on staring at the old man for a long time. Then something in his face changes. If that's the way you feel, it's been an honor, Doctor. Vauclair smiles weakly. The honor has been mine. Yep. Yeah, even though you talk Vauclair down, which gives you a karma and an achievement for that, yeah, the plan still goes on because Aljernon is a cult worshiper of the dragon. So the scarred orc, or cult worshiper, not so much of the dragon, but of the plan and everything like that. The scarred orc stares at you through the glass as Vauclair's body cools at its feet. His eyes are brimming with hate. You shouldn't have made me do that, asshole. The doc was like family to me. Yeah, I'll cry you a river. You killed Paul Amsel. You'll join them soon enough, don't you worry. First things first, I'll have a dragon to release. The doctor's plan, Panacea, it won't work. He knew that in the end. It will. The dragon will die. I've seen what Panacea could do. The doc showed me tissue samples. It melted them. The dragon will die, yes, but there's no telling what else might happen. Unleashing that shit could have deadly consequences for all of us. He continues to say at you, and? Oh, you son of a bitch! Look who's talking. For all of his faults, Vauclair was a hero, and now he's dead, and it's your fault. So, what is this all about for you, Aljernon? Why the hell are you doing this? Why am I releasing the dragon? Spreading Vauclair's panacea to affect the world? Because the world is sick, Blackwire. Anyone with half a brain could see that, so I'm gonna use the Doc's wonder bug to poison it back to health. You might get better, or it might die. Either would be better than languishing like this. So, so you want to change the world, but you don't care for what changes into. That's insane, Aljernon. Yeah, maybe, but it'd be interesting, and I'll be the cause of it. Not a dragon, not a megacorp, me, all by myself, changing the world. Speaking of changes, your life is about to get a lot more exciting. Did the doc tell you that you're standing in the animal research lab? It's overflowing with test subjects, and they don't play well with others. Nasty, dangerous things, and it's well past their feeding time. He punches a button, and from the corner of the room you hear a hissing sound. Mnemonic locks sliding open. And now, if you'll excuse me, I've got a dragon to wake up. If you're still alive when I get back, I'll put a bullet in you. If you're lucky, I might even put it in your head. Quick and clean, like your pal Amsel. Or like your pal Amsel. He pauses for a moment, considering, you probably shouldn't count on that, though. Aljernon, you bastard. If you don't convince Vauclair, he just goes along with... Aljernon goes along with him and everything like that. But, uh-oh, got a new enemy here. We got some fire drakes. Not too heinous, but they are very spongy at 120 HP, and we're going to be fighting quite a few of those over the course of this section. So let's go ahead and mark target if we can. All right, let's see. I guess we'll just block somewhere, so. And then control mod. All right, and then let's beef up Iger. Yeah, just get, can we shoot? Oh yeah, we can shoot him from here, so. Alright, let's just snipe the crap out of him. Yeah, if we're lucky, we'll get some pretty good shots from all these, so. Yeah, we'll probably just keep shooting. Let's try the... Yeah, they should have just got 2 shots instead of using the armor piercing, so. Oh well. Let's beef up you, like always. There, let's see if we can. Oops, okay. Let's see. This might have hit without that. Okay. Probably get a crit shot off on him. Nice. Boom! Yeah, and they explode into a fiery blast, so be careful with that, so. Alright, and more of them are gonna pop up. Yeah, see. Okay, that was a weird sound transition. Very odd. Okay. Anyway, let's keep blasting this thing. Oh yeah. Dietrich, get a buff on glory there. And then let's see, I need to do another mark target. Nice. Alright. And just keep blasting him with a... There should be like one more will appear afterwards, so... Ah, dang it. Actually, can I get... Well, I better just reload, really. Alright, let's see. I wonder if we can get a... I mean, probably don't even need to worry about that, but... Alright, let's see. There we go. Another one gone. Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. I said, hey, yay, 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 yay. Another one bites the dust. I think we're good, actually, so wait another turn. Alright, there's the other one. Okay, now we're going to have to move. Can Did she hit him in that corner? I'm always bad about... Nah. I have to wait for him to get a bit close. I might just move all my guys back up, so until he gets into a good position. So. Oh, I didn't realize I moved him into the sections there, but let's go on. And we'll just wait for him to move into position. So. Come on. I was about to say, is the game going to move at all? Okay. There's another fire wing there. Yeah, there's quite a few of these back to back, so. But we can blast this guy. I think Dietrich's far enough away that he doesn't have to worry about that. Oh, nice. Can I hit them from there? Nope. Okay. Let's just reload then. Alright, how's my... Let's see. Still got a turn, but I'll go and activate aim on you again. Let's go ahead and move Glory back, just so I don't get... I'm not in the range of his explosion, so... I mean, it doesn't do a ton of damage, it's just... I'll just wait till you get closer. Okay. Let's wait for him to get closer. Yeah, he's far enough away, so. Mark target. Missed? That was like 93% game. Wow. I hate it. I hate missing so badly. Okay. That would have made this so much easier if I was doing that, but that's fine. Whatever. Yeah, keep blasting with rifle shots. Luckily, her to hit against these guys is pretty good, so. Boom! And we're gonna be I think there are a few more fights with those things. But yeah, like I said, not too bad, actually. But anyway, get a advanced medikit for that. And then, yeah, we need to talk to the inflatable tube lady. The physical and the physical embodiment of her astral form, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I feel bad for the poor woman who had this soul her soul ripped out of her, and a dragon was put into it instead. Oh well. At least the original woman's soul is probably, you know, whatever happens in this world, and so she's gone. So she didn't have to suffer the 20 years in a glass tube for, you know, all that long. But the gaunt woman paused at the glass at your approach, her haunting yellow eyes tracking your every move. When you activate the intercom, a green light activates inside the containment cell, and she flinches up at it, startled. So you're an ancient dragon, huh? A small voice whispers through the lips that barely move. It sounds hoarse and awkward, like a rusty lock. Help, please, help. You don't look like much like a dragon. Leave me, please, you must. Let's think this through, boss. Be careful. Is that girl still inside you, First Wing? Are you alone in there? Alone on the wind. Must stay aloft. Ride the thermals. Make the wind work for me. So tired. So very tired now. Her yellow eyes lock on yours. Focus hard. Free me, Vauclair. Free me or burn. Crazy woman is crazy. Realization mixed with pity appears on Dietrich's face. My God, First Wing's astral form has been trapped in that woman for 40 years, and she's been confined to this cage for 20. That's torture. He turns to you, conflicted. Nothing deserves this, Blackvile, but all the same, we can't just set her free. Yeah, I'm not gonna set free a dragon despite everything, despite the torture she went through. I'm not freeing a dragon that basically almost burned Europe. So, you know, At the sound of the word free, the woman's eyes open wide and she presses her hand to the glass. Yeah, free, yes, free, free. Free me and I will return to the mountain. I will sleep into the next age of this world. I will not harm another soul. Just free me, free me, free. Yeah, I don't trust dragons. I've played D&D. As quickly as it appeared, her energy drains late. Must stay aloft. Help you. Grant you release from here, and you will repay in kind. Yes, yes, yes. There's a panel in the floor behind you. Drop down into the guts of this place. The guts, find the guts. By my body, the machine. Break it. Break it. Break it! No promises, dragon. A voice roars out of her. From somewhere deep inside, the frail woman. Free me! Free me, or the flesh will be ripped from your bones! Burn you to cinders! Burn you to ash! Burn you to nothing! This I swear, little man! She seems angry. Well then. But yeah, so, but this isn't the choice. There is another affection to the ending is, do you actually free First Wing or, you know, whatever? Well, let's go down the hatch and find out. Yeah, this is a very more of a talky episode with a little bit of action at the end. So, into the dark. You squeeze through the narrow gap between the floor panels and climb down to a large space beneath the lab complex. Darkness surrounds you and the air smells moldy and stale. As your eyes slowly adjust to the light, you can make out the dim plains of cobwebs, covered walls, and scattered construction equipment. Judging by the dust and disrepair, this place appears to have been abandoned long ago. Meanwhile, somewhere else beneath the Harfield Manor, Paul Amsel's killers prepare to wake a dragon and unleash it on the unsuspecting Berlin. Well, compared to the lab above, this room is almost impossibly quiet. A small amount of light flickers in from the narrow passage above you. There appears to be light fixtures mounted in the walls, but there's no sign of a light switch. Where the hell are we, boss? It looks abandoned. I think this place is military. Judging by our depths and the markings, I guess it's an abandoned missile base. That would explain why the late Dr. Vauclair chose this place for his operation. Can't be easy to find a secret underground base big enough to house a dragon. Well, that was interesting. What now? No choice. We had to find where Vershring is being kept. If we don't stop that scarred bastard from releasing her, everyone in the cruise bazaar is dead. Yes. Will everyone be dead in the cruise bazaar? Can we find First Wing? How will we deal with an ancient old dragon? Free her to the wind, or give her what she so rightly deserves? We'll find out next time in the next episode of Shadowrun Dragonfall. Actually, I would say, well, we're really close to the end, so, you know, perhaps we'll just end it like that. So, how will this story end? Will First Wing be freed, or will we send her crashing down to the earth? What about Audrin, the killer Paul Amsel, and others? Will he get what he rightly deserves, or will he end up being the decider of the world itself? We'll find out next time in the finale of Shadowrun Dragonfall. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.